Paramahamsa Sadguru Sri Sattupasiye Namaha. Shri Guru Gita. Goddess Parvati is asking, by following which path will a living being, Jiva, become Brahman, the Supreme Consciousness? Shloka 15. Kena margena bho swamin dehi brahmamayo bhavet tat kripam kuru me swamin namami charanau tava. Anuvada. O Swami, by what path does the Jiva become Brahmaswarupa? Out of compassion, O Swami, please explain this matter to me. I bow at your feet. Bhavartha. The Jiva is like a drop separated from the all-pervading Paramatma. The Jiva represents a composite of the heart, the mind and the Atma. The word Parabrahma is used in ordinary discourse to indicate reality. Yet, that reality is anirvachaniya, indescribable. Many kinds of sweet figurines made from sugar may be called sugar. But sugar itself cannot be called a sugar figurine. In all animate and inanimate aspects, there is the eternal Atma. But in Parabrahman, there is no partial or temporary aspect. It is complete reality, Paripurna Vastava. According to the fruits of karmas done in the previous births, the Jiva is born into bodies. Even if born into the same family, some may be wealthy, while the condition of other members of that same family is not the same. Forgetting that it is a portion of Paramatma, the Jiva, through the delusion that it is separate and individual, commits errors. Avidya and self-ignorance, Swayam Ajnana, bind the Jiva in the bondage of samsara, make it gather the fruits of punya and papa karmas and cause it to be born again. Mamaiva smo jiva loke Jiva bhuta sanatanaha mama shashtanindriyani prakritisthani karshati. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, shloka 7. The souls in this material world are my eternal portions. Bound by material prakriti, they struggle, joined with the mind and the senses. When moksha is attained, the Jivatman is freed from rebirth and becomes absorbed into Paramatma. For the Jiva to know itself as Parabrahma, the guidance of Brahmanubhuti Guru is exceedingly important. Sri Shankaracharya in the Nirvana Shatakam describes the ever unchanging state in this manner. I am not the mind, the intellect, the ego or memory. I am not the ear, the skin, the nose or the eyes. I am not the space, not earth, not fire, not water, nor air. I am not the life breath, nor the 5 elements. I am not an object, nor the 5 sheaths of consciousness. I am not speech, nor hands, nor feet. In me there is neither liking or disliking. There is no desire or delusion. I do not know ego or envy. For me, there is no duty, no wealth, no desire, no longing for liberation. There is no good quality or bad quality, no happiness or sorrow. For me, there are no mantras, no pilgrimages, no scriptures, nor rituals. I am neither the experiencer nor the experience. I have no doubt about existence. There is no distinction of birth. I have no father, no mother, for I was never born at any time. I am neither relative nor friend, neither guru nor disciple. I am free from dualities. my form is formless. I pervade everywhere. I pervade all the senses. I do not cling. I am neither free nor bound. I am pure consciousness and Ananda Swarupa. I am the doer of auspiciousness. To understand the Guru's instruction of jnana, acquaintance with the Guru is very important. Concerning this matter, Parvati Devi asks Parameshwara. Paramahamsa Sadguru Sri Sattupasiya Uvacha. The Vedas, the Shastras and the Upanishads speak of a truth that the great Mahatmas have seen and lived. Even now, anyone who is meant for it can directly experience that blissful presence while still living in this very body. One can clearly realize that it is true and firmly establish it as truth. But one cannot fully express it in words. To truly know it, you must experience it. If you want that experience, you must do sadhana. Just as you give attention to feeding and maintaining the body, you must give even greater and steadier attention to spiritual practice. With the strength of sense control, you must keep moving without break towards Bhagwan. This must be done continuously. I was once a very simple person who knew nothing. I was like an innocent village man. Hanumantajja, my guru, was also a simple village man who worked as a daily wage laborer. When he said, I must give you Upadesha, I asked, what is a guru? What is Upadesha? That was my state. As far as I knew, I was fine. I had no craving for anything. There was no desire inside me. I did not think I want this or I want that. Whoever was around me, whatever happened, there was no sorrow. I did not even clearly know what was mine and what was not. I lived simply. Wherever I went, I would stay 2 or 3 days and move on. For 2 years, that Guru strengthened me and gave me Upadesha. From that very time, a certain awareness and knowledge began to arise within me. After receiving Upadesha, strange feelings began to sprout. Thoughts such as, are they suffering? If I leave them, will they feel pain? It was a new movement within. As the Upadesha continued, the dullness and sleepiness began to fall away. A clear knowing arose. A small sense of me loosened and spread, becoming vast. A new wisdom awakened. Things I had never known before began to become clear. Where did that knowledge come from? What was that Upadesha that brought such a change after so many years? It was as if a hand placed on the head turned something upside down and everything became different. In that state, there was no Guru and there was no me. It became a single, all-pervading expanse, impossible to describe, like a vast opening into the whole universe. Later, when I read what was written in the books, I saw the same truths described there. Inner sound, inner light, samadhi, and many such things. Whatever I had experienced was spoken in the Vedas and Upanishads. Only then I understood, this is what they were pointing to. When they speak of the 10th door, of light, of inner radiance, of the brightness of countless suns, of a river of light, how true it all is. For the one who has experience, the Shastras become like a mirror. It does not need to be proven. Yet, when someone reads the Shastras, the mind can begin to open. The same knowledge and living experience are present in the Vedas and also in the Bhagavad Gita. Some may read it first and experience later. For me, the experience came first. Even if the Vedas describe the experience in many ways, it is still only a little, because words cannot contain it. When the heart becomes ripe, the moment the Guru places his hand, in an instant the inner lamp is kindled. If the Guru speaks even one word, if he gives even one blessing, there is no delay at all. Grace works immediately. Shri Sattupasiye Namaha.